Hello, you are most welcome to today's masterclass. It's a pleasure having all of you. Sorry for the slight delay because of technical glitches. Today we are looking at how we can transition from traditional AI to agentic AI because technology is changing very fast. So our moderator is about to join us shortly. He has had some technical issue, but my panelist is already here, Mr. Frederick Kibbedi, who is a consultant with Vision Africa AI, but he wears many hats. So he's an expert in his own right. The chair will introduce him, but I will also he will also say a little bit more about himself later on. But it's a pleasure having all of you. So I think let's get started so that we don't lose a lot of time, because there is still more exciting things coming up. Let me check whether my sharing is on. Yeah, so we're looking at transitioning to agentic AI in business, opportunities and challenges. My name is Julius Torach. I'm the Managing Director for Vision Africa AI. I'm a data scientist as well, so you're most welcome. So what we should expect in this masterclass are the following. We'll define agentic AI and we'll distinguish it from traditional robotic process automation, machine learning, and generative AI. We will also describe agent architecture, the reasoning core, memory tool use, orchestration, and guardrails. We will analyze business opportunities which are available across functions and sectors, including African and Ugandan contexts. We'll also evaluate the challenges like technical, organizational, ethical, legal, security dimensions of adoption. Then we'll see how to apply a transition framework, how to move an organization of experimentation to production-grade agentic AI. And there is going to be live demo of how agentic AI works, courtesy Mr. Frederick Kibbedi. So those are the major areas that we are going to cover. So there has been a lot of changes taking place. Even almost every other day, a new type of AI is being released, and agentic AI is no exception. Before 2022, we were focusing a lot on predictive analytics, what we now call traditional AI. Then after that, generative AI from November 2022 took a lot of interest when ChatGPT became operational. And within 2 months, they had 100 million.
Oh, your presentation is not on.
Oh. How about that?
Yeah, now it is visible.
Oh,
maybe to change to presentation mode.
Can we see it now?
Yes, it's now perfect.
All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I'd already taken us through these slides, what we are going to cover, including the practical session with Mr. Kibbedi. And I was saying that a lot has been changing in the sphere of AI from the 1950s, actually, when AI became an interesting subject of research, starting with Alan Turing, 1956. That's when the term AI was coined in a conference in the United States of America. So we have seen many times of ups and downs and a lot of development in the space of AI. So in 2022, in November, that's when a lot of interest again was generated with the coming on board of ChatGPT. Within a period of 2 weeks, 100 million people are using it. It even surpassed the rate of adoption of the internet. So there has been tremendous shift also. From that time, generative AI also became a big subject of interest, where now you're able to generate images, you're able to generate, and recently now agentic AI has taken over, but it is built on the generative AI technology, on the large language models. So agent is able to understand the environment. It can read emails, it can check databases and dashboards. You can give it a plan or a goal to achieve, and it breaks it down. An example is if you are saying that you want to do procurement, AI is able to break your procurement process into manageable steps. And that is what we say it can reason and plan. And then it can act, it can interact with other systems as well, like calling APIs, it can do transactions, and it can also run code. And it continues also to improve itself by learning and adapting, reading also from memory. So this is an overview of AI, I mean agentic AI. So let's go again and see how we have been able to progress. I already talked about traditional AI, like based on robotic process automation. I talked about AI chatbot, and now the current agentic AI. Traditionally, we would, even before AI took center stage, you would develop code software line by line based on some predefined rules. So even when traditional AI, we started using it, was still based on some rules. So whenever you wanted a new product or solution to a problem, you again need to rewrite. But with generative AI now, we started using normal human language for communicating with the computer, where you type in what they call a prompt. It is a language for communicating instruction to the computer. It will give you a response. That's why I said you can ask it to draft for you a letter, it can draft for you. You said generate an image for you, it can generate music, it can generate for you even videos. Now for agentic AI, you just give it an instruction, then it can break it into steps and it will implement it. So traditional AI was rigid, but generative AI would help with content generation, and agentic AI has multi-step workflow, as Mr. Kibbedi is going to demonstrate to you. And then also deterministic, it was rigid, deterministic process, that is traditional AI. But generative AI can come up with suggestions. For example, when you use ChatGPT and you run something, below it, it can give you other options. Do you now want to do this? Do you want me to also generate for you maybe a summary? So it gives you those suggestions to proceed. Then agentic AI decides and acts within bounds. That means because of challenges of cybersecurity, as we are going to see, you can be able to come up with standard operating procedures so that agentic AI works within bounds. Because if you don't do that, it is likely to leak organizational knowledge or secret to other systems. So that's why agentic AI has to work within bounds. Then adaptability. Traditional AI breaks when process changes. That's because of the rigidity of the process and the coding. But generative AI, again, also is limited by the conversation you make with the system, but agentic AI continually to replan its execution. We already said that it breaks a particular task or assignment into smaller tasks for execution and continually gets feedback. And previously, also in terms of human involvement, the human would design it and also operate it. Generative AI, you have a prompter. You can even choose to call yourself a prompt engineer, and you enter the instruction. But agentic AI supervises itself in the process of its execution. But also human being can come and sorry, I hope I did not hide the screen again. An example we want to give you is here on the right side. For example, you have received a complaint. It checks whether there is that issue was handled before in the CRM, customer relationship management system. And if the issue was a refund, you notify the customer and then you log the case, how it was handled. So that next time you can actually develop this and continually use it, because that's why it is said it is autonomous. It will keep on running by itself the next time. So the key definitions are as given here. AI agent is a software entity using a foundation model, which is the large model as reasoning core. But it also interact with tools. It can be linked to databases. It can query APIs, that is application programming interfaces, so that it can get additional information for whatever assignment it has. And then also it has active memory when you are working, and also it can also have long-term memory. That's why you even within the generative AI tools, you can always see that there are some already. When I developed a document, I gave it some instruction, I gave it some prompt. You can see that it actually remains in a long-term memory. So that is an example. It can be a working memory, or it can be that memory which is already stored. Then the issue of guardrails, we're going to look at it more, and it pursues goals autonomously. Now, agentic AI is a broader paradigm and system architecture with one or more agents plan. So now when you're using more than one agent, they plan and act and are coordinated together in the execution of the task. And then also you can have multiple agent systems, which is a network of specialized agents that can for research, compliance, payments. They collaborate and they can delegate to one another. This one is in multiple systems. So agency is not binary. What we have here, human beings can also come in the loop. Agent proposes, human approves every action. And this is when you are using sensitive systems like for payment. You want the human to keep up making approval. Also when you're doing procurement. And then there are also certain things, instructions which are not reversible, like when you are signing contracts. You don't want the AI to make decision that you don't approve of. So at the end of the day, human remains accountable for the decisions that AI makes. We can't blame wrong instruction to the AI. I think I've already explained this. So this is the architecture. I've already talked about the short-term memory and the long-term memory. But it can also be able to access databases and to avoid hallucination or the machine coming up with wrong answers which appear as real. You can you upload certain documents that you want AI to reference than to just ask general question and it brings you anything. So that is an example of a RAG. And I've already said the core engine is the large language, is the LLM core, which interprets goals, plan steps, etc. And then also we say there are tools that the agent can be able to access, like application programming databases, programming interfaces, and other databases. And then for purposes of interoperability, there is a protocol called MCP, which is used for interoperability. Model context protocol. Then there are a number of solutions also, technologies which can be used for agentic AI. There are others which are open source, then there are others which are proprietary, like Amazon, the one for Amazon Web Services, then we have Copilot, then we have Vertex from Google. So I don't know which one Mr. Kibbedi is going to use today. He is well versed with quite a number of tools, so he will come on board and show us which one is going to use for demo today. And then guardrails. I talked about the issue of humans controlling the behavior of agentic AI, because otherwise it can leak sensitive information from your organization and also causes problems of cybersecurity. So agentic AI is able to reason and act at the same time, but also LLM agents can simulate believable memory-driven behavior over time. And then thirdly, delegation to an autonomous agent recreate classic governance problems. So again, human has to be in charge. So you need to put in governance framework to control the behavior of agentic AI. So there are a number of drivers. What are some of those things that enable us to now transition to agentic AI? LLMs, which became very popular starting 2024, 2026, achieve reliable tool use, long context reasoning, multi-step planning. And that is why agentic AI is able now to write on the large language model. Then the other thing is also the falling cost of token. I know this is again as if it is reversing. People are saying that agentic AI and AI seems to becoming more expensive. So that is a big issue of debate. And then the ecosystem maturity, also with the interoperability coming on board, again, promoting the use of agentic AI. Then do more with flat budgets, acute in public sector and emerging markets. So because of it not being very expensive, as is going to be demonstrated, it is really not that expensive. But of course, the cost of token, if we are to compare with, if we are complaining about the issue of data here in our market, then to pay for some of these tools which are licensed, you actually feel the pinch if you have to pay $20 a month, for example, to run some of these frameworks. So there, we are going to look at some statistics on the adoption of agentic AI. This graph doesn't display the figures, but as you can see, organizations intending to deploy within the next 2 years are quite many. The contradiction, which is also there, Gartner is saying many of us are jumping on the bandwagon of agentic AI without understanding the clear business value of the agentic AI we want to deploy, because we don't link it to the strategic objective of the organization. And as I said, the other thing which is contradictory is about the cost of the tokens and then the inadequate risk controls. Because when you don't put in safeguards for agentic AI, it can become a big problem. There are a number of opportunities that we can get from different industries. One of them is customer service and experience. And better still, you can be able to use local language to run your agentic AI. The other area which you can use for applying agentic AI is in sales, marketing, and commerce. For example, you can personalize outreach, you can schedule meetings. So if you're having a meeting and you don't need to work with a secretary, it checks the calendar of the different people who are supposed to be in the meeting and fixes a meeting for you. So those are some of the benefits of agentic AI. Then finance and operation, like in doing reconciliation, exception handling, continuous close, even in doing procurement, like comparing prices. Like we normally do Z market survey. So now if the technology is doing market survey for you online, that saves you a lot of time. Then the other one is on software engineering. Coding agents implement features, write tests, fix bugs, etc. And this is why also our software engineers need to be careful on the areas in which they specialize. It is not that AI is going to make them jobless, but they need to know what their niche is within software engineering field. And then the other one is HR and knowledge work. For example, onboarding of agents, policy Q&A, leave and benefits administration, and a host of other things within the sphere of human resource management. So in terms of the benefits, US dollars 450 billion plus is projected agentic AI share of enterprise application software revenue by 2025. So if I were a software engineer, I now position myself, how do I understand better how to use agentic AI technologies. And that is why Vision Africa AI comes to offer you training, international certification programs, and Vision Africa AI also comes to give you customized master classes for your organization, and also specialized training in cooperation with the different academic institutions where we organize hackathons for the students. Then the other strategic opportunities is about improvement of workflow, because it is better to redesign your workflow. What this means is you need to understand what your current process is. If you are introducing agentic AI, what kind of improvement is it going to make for you? Then the other thing is, since we don't have many people who are expert in tax, managing tax, clinical protocols, procurement law, because agentic AI is said to be your worker. So you deploy these tools and it helps you to solve your tax issues and also procurement issues. So it does procurement for you. So if you cannot employ many procurement officers, agentic AI will do it for you. AI agents will do it for you. And small human teams supervising fleet of agents, where you have an agent manager emerges as a job family. Humans concentrate on judgment, relationship, and exceptions. So here is a situation where the agent is doing most of the things for you. So the area where the humans concentrate now are on judgment, relationships, and exceptions, when agentic AI is doing most of the work for you. Then also agent as a service offering, AI native startup with minimal headcount and agent marketplaces. It is actually giving us rise to new products in the market. Something also that we need to notice, this whether you are safe having your agents developed by international companies and given to you here, and therefore your data can easily leak to their network, or whether you want to develop the agents locally from within your institution with limited access to those international databases. That is what the bound I talked about earlier meant, giving it a standard operating procedure. So it is something that you need to watch. So organization that redesigns redesign workflows around agents see the greatest returns. So other benefits we are seeing here comes in terms of opportunity for us. Just like mobile money was a big influence to our businesses here, even agentic AI is something that we need to understand and see how best it can work for us, even in the public service. I look at that also in terms of the next point here, public service delivery. There is a Ugandan who has developed an agentic AI portal whereby you can be able to check information about passport, etc. He's going to do a demo for us in the next meeting. So please don't miss. It is a locally developed AI portal with a number of government services hosted. So you would wish to see that these things actually, they are not theory. Ugandans are already implementing them. The other one is the financial inclusion bit. But as I said, some of these things you need to have human in the loop. Even when you deploy agentic AI in processing insurance claims, at some intervals, you need to be able to check and see whether the claim is actually correct. Otherwise, it is going to bring in a lot of litigation problem for you. Then the other interesting area of application, as you know, is in the area of agriculture, determining market prices and alerting you about it. And also you can be able to get information in local language. The other portal, which is going to be demonstrated next week, has a lot of local languages. So please be part of that so that you can see that actually these things can work. Then the other one is about the health. Also, it is used a lot in the health sector and also by SMEs as marketing agent, compliant agent. So all these are opportunities for us to adopt agentic AI. What do we need? You need to have some understanding of how it operates. And two, you need to be able to see how, that's why we're having a demo today, to see how these things really work in practice and what you need to do in order to come on board. But there are challenges, as you know. We still have problem of connectivity, electricity, challenge of data, local language model performance. We still have issues on that because most of our agent platforms are from other countries. So they are not from us here. The other thing that we need to, technical challenges, which is there. Agentic AI amplifies biases and some errors. For example, if one agent you developed has a bias or has a problem, and it is linked to another agent, that means it is going to transfer the mistakes or the errors from itself. So at the end of the day, the calculations will not be, the final calculation will not be correct. So that is the problem of reliability and hallucination associated with the AI agents. And then the other problem is also integrating with the traditional old systems. It doesn't integrate well with them. The other one is evaluation and testing. It is also a challenge. And then the issue of cost management, which I said is contradictory. We continue with the security challenges again. One of them is, they call it prompt injection, whereby some bad people can interfere with the process of development, starting with the messing up with the quality of the data you are using, but also in the process, hackers can be able to inject certain malicious, in fact, the model that you are using. So that is one of the challenges what we have here. So OWASP 2025 has identified prompt injection as the defining new vulnerability class of the agentic era. So every tool, so the agentic AI actually expands the surface for attack. If now you have multiple agents and somebody can target any of them, then that also becomes a challenge. Then the other one is on identity and privilege. What this means is that just like you can have role-based access, you give access to system on a need-to-know basis. That's why we're saying when you're accessing a database, you can only be given permission to reach a certain level, but some information may be seen by accounting officer, but the junior officer may not be able to see. So similarly, in agentic AI also, you can be able to limit the privilege, the access level of the agent. Then autonomous misuse agents lower the cost of attack for adversaries too. So adversaries can also use agents to attack you in terms of phishing. You think it is only you who is using it for the good reason, but the other attacker also, a hacker also uses the same agent to infiltrate your system. So it is now that's why we need security expert. Some of the people probably watching us today may want to take specialization on AI-related security systems so that they can be able to, first of all, detect and prevent this kind of attack that will come using a generative AI, agentic AI. And it is just like the traditional virus we have had. It has been here forever with us. So every time you come up with a solution to block it, they again go back and reinvent. So it keeps us just in the loop of fighting all the time. So the other critical issues has to do with governance, legal and ethical challenges. The first one is on the accountability, which earlier on I said, you can't blame the technology. It is normally traced down to the human being. So that is in terms of accountability. Then compliance with data protection and privacy, like the limitation of data, purpose limitation. You can only collect information and use it for the purpose for which it was collected. You can collect information maybe for tax purposes, and then you use that information for some other purpose. So that is what purpose limitation is about. And again, data minimization is the volume of information you collect. You only collect information that is necessary. So even when you are implementing these technologies, you need to be beware of these laws which are in place. Then transparency and explainability. You should be able to explain how these technologies work. So that's why you need to have audit trails in place so that it is transparent how the agent is making decisions. And I believe probably in the demo, you could be able to see how the agentic AI actually works, but also how, if it is doing some computation, you should be able to explain how that computation was done by the agent. And then I talked about bias and the issues of fairness. Autonomy amplifies bias. So I said when one agent is linked to the other, the bias can actually be transferred and grow up in scale as it is. If you are, for example, in the multi-agent system, you will not get the correct information. So there are a number of other international frameworks that you can look at. We have this one from ISO. Then we have this one for National Institute of Science and Technology, the one from the United States of America, AI Risk Management Framework, then OECD AI Principles, AU Continental AI Strategy, which is Africa-wide policy direction. So all this helps us to understand what governance framework we need in place. Again, this is something that we do as Vision Africa AI, training boards on AI governance and top management, but also we add on training them in the areas of risk and compliance. So it is a whole big package where we take them through different aspects of governance and the and ethical principles of responsible AI. So that is the opportunity that also we offer to you as Vision Africa AI. Then organizational workforce and contextual challenges. I mentioned already software engineers, that they need to be able to identify which area of their work they need to specialize in and which part of their work may be taken over by these agents. So even the auditors need to be able to know which kind of work of theirs is AI agent is likely to take over and which area they can actually focus on. But it doesn't mean that when you give your work to an agent, then you sit and relax. The performance of these systems at times degrade, and not only degrading, but also it drifts. It starts doing what it was not planned for. So there is also an element of drifting. So the humans need to remain alert. Then the other thing is about trust and adoption. Some employees may resist or overtrust or covertly bypass the agents. So don't rely on it 100% because the bugs will stop with you. Then skills scarcity. Agent engineering evaluation and AI governance skills are scarce globally. So this is opportunity for us. So that's why Vision Africa AI is is providing this masterclass free of charge for us so that we can be able to understand agentic AI and many other areas around AI, but also their professional technical certification, which you can undertake in partnership with the Global Skill Development Council. That is a globally recognized certification which can help you to work anywhere around the world. Then also most organizations stall in experimentation, something called pilot purgatory. And this is a big challenge, even for generative AI. Beyond experimentation, you get a development partner comes and implements pilots AI for you. It goes away, then that is where it ends. This is something that we need to avoid, but even the private sector companies need to be clear on return on investment. Because if it is not clear, again, you are likely to abandon the project halfway. So in Uganda and East Africa, we also have challenges with regulators in the financial, communications, and health sector. Still need AI-specific supervisory skills. So this is what we are saying, that we provide this kind of training to regulators. Then fragmented data ecosystems. Many public registries are not machine readable, which we say that some of these agents don't communicate well with what we call legacy systems. Then frontier models are priced in USD and hosted abroad. So every time actually I want to use, I subscribe to a number of these models to use in the course of my work, but I have to pay using in US dollars. So it becomes expensive for me at the end of the day. But also the other issues I talked about is about data sovereignty, where our data is hosted abroad. But the demonstration I said you are going to see next Thursday, the solution, the agentic AI solution is hosted locally in Uganda. And you'll ask me how, just come and see for yourself in the demo. Then digital divide. Agent first services must not exclude citizens without smartphones or literacy. And some of the solutions actually can be able to run when it is offline until when you reconnect to internet, then it can be able to work. So we say that many people drop off. Gartner said 40% is going to drop off by next year, those who start, which is not a good statistics, because that means we rush into technology without proper planning. So the framework we use is that there must be a readiness assessment to find out the kind of data you are using, the kind of skills you are using, the kind of governance framework that you have already in place. And then we also be able to make recommendations on which governance framework can work. It is raining where I am. I hope you are still hearing me. Then use case selection. After that, then that is what determines the selection of the use case. I hope that you can be able to hear me. There is a lot of rain where I am. And then the other one is controlled pilot. You need to be able to control the piloting that you do, because you first need to see the performance of the agent that you have developed. If it is not performing well, then you need to make some modification before scaling it. Because if you don't do sufficient test, it becomes a problem, or implementing it in a small scale before rolling out. The other one which I talked about is about having humans in controlling the agentic AI process. They should be able to, if it is misbehaving, then they should be able to terminate it. That is why we have what they call kill switches. And we should also be able to train staff as supervisors. And then when we are done with this, that is when we should be able to scale and institutionalize. So the key point that we would like you to carry is about agentic AI shifts AI from tools to digital teammates. So that's why AI agents are called our employees or associates or teammates. And then also, we went through the process of understanding the large language model. Then we looked at the memory, which is the short term and the long term. Then we looked at the tools like application programming interfaces, and then also how it is coordinated, and the guardrails. Guardrails can be in terms of policy that you need to have in place, standard operating procedures, and you can also have in terms of limiting access to certain services or certain databases. Then the other one is broad opportunities, which where you can use agentic AI in customer service, in finance, in software, in development, in operation, and a host of other areas. So this is something that we need to look at. And also some of the risk where we said 40% of enterprises up embedded and by the end of 2026. That is the progress. But then Gartner is also saying by the end of next year, 40 of those projects would have collapsed. So it is as if we are not progressing. And that has also been said about generative AI. Very few organizations have demonstrated a return on investment or have used it fully. So AI is not, there is a lot of demand for it, but the adoption and the performance is really not what it should be. But already it is being used in a number of areas. That is not to discourage you, because what we are talking about are enterprise solutions for big companies and big organizations. For you with a small business, you can still use agentic AI, which is going to be demonstrated to you. Then the other one is reliability engineering, issues of security, which we talked about. And then we said you should move on gradually. You need to do readiness. You need to select your use case, and then you put human in the loop so that they can be able to check the performance. Then when you are convinced that it is working well, then you deploy it fully in the organization. So thank you very much for your kind attention, and sincere apology for the rain. Probably it is. Oh, I thought it was. I thought I'd been disconnected. So I hand over to you, Chair. Sorry that you also had a technical challenge at the beginning. So I hand over to you now to invite the next speaker, then we can have a discussion.
No, we are almost running out of time. Let the next speaker just come on straight away. Yes, Frederick.
Thank you, colleagues, for inviting me to this webinar. You know, James, when before we started, they said that you would introduce me So you are not. So I'm not introduced. Let me introduce myself. Or you want to do that first?
No, it's okay. There's no better person to introduce you than yourself. I think that's much better. Although I have better stories, but I will leave it for you now.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to do this presentation. It's always a pleasure sharing knowledge. I have learned with time that the more you share knowledge, the more you become knowledgeable. And that in itself sends me running for every opportunity there is to share knowledge. And thank you so much, Julius. It has been very well illustrated. I think the background to agentic AI can never be overemphasized. And everybody in the room appreciates that we have moved away from generative AI to agentic AI, allowing the artificial intelligence to do work by itself without you having to intervene or intervening minimally to take decisions and make high-level judgments, which makes you efficient and leaner in terms of operation, but lethal in terms of excellency of execution. To start with, I'll be sharing my screen shortly, but start with, there is a joke I saw today. It's not a joke. I saw it today on TikTok. I think one of the members of Parliament of Canada had used the generative AI to be able to build his speech. And in reading the speech, he read everything verbatim, including the options the artificial intelligence had given him. Do you want to make this speech more human-like and natural sound so it connects with the audience? He read that as well. And there the audience burst into laughter. So the issue is really, do we want to embrace artificial intelligence and let it help us do the work that we must do to be able to satisfy our clients or to be able to appreciate the services within which we are? And I think the answer is yes. Quite often times people only want to dwell on the negative and say, it does this, does that. And I've told people, every day we hear there are road accidents, but we don't stop using the roads. Every day there are plane crashes. We hear of a plane crash, but we don't stop flying. Every day somebody gets food poisoning and we hear about it. We don't stop eating food. And so the downside of artificial intelligence will always be there. And I think the benefit of the training is such that we're able to guard ourselves against that downside and use it for the benefit of business and business opportunities. So I'd like to share my screen and do some demonstrations on some of the intelligences that are happening in the world, some of which are very fascinating. I have decided to keep it simple. I'll just play around. I want somebody, probably James or Julius, one of you should send me an email right now because I want to use it as a demonstration. Send me an email right now requesting me for some very complex work to do for you. Just think about something quickly and send it to me. James or Julius, I need to know that one of you is doing that. As I start on something else, I want that email to come in on Kibbedi.
I'm working on it. I will give you a very tough assignment.
Yeah, send it to me on Kibbedi at Premier Pages.
I have that email already.
Yes, please do that. So let me share my screen so I demonstrate how agentic AI is helping us to become more efficient and is driving organizations in very different directions. I hope you can see my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
It's coming.
Yes, please. We're able to see your screen.
Yes, you're able to see my screen. Now, as we're talking, I received an email from Julius Torach, and I don't know what that email is saying, but I'm going to ask Microsoft Copilot Cowork to read the email and prepare the response and address all the issues that he has pointed out in the email. James, have you sent yours?
It's coming.
And just make sure that everything is correctly responded to and put the email in drafts for me to be able to send it. That's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to dictate right now. I'm going to repeat myself. I want you to read an email that has just come in from Julius and make sure that you address all the issues in the email, any pointers and actions that are required, read them and prepare a draft response and put it in my draft outbox for me to read and confirm. So I've just done that right now. And oh, what is happening? Are you still following me on my screen? Has the screen gone away?
There is
Screen
another
has
mail
gone
that
away.
has come from James. The mail
Yeah,
from
but
James has also come.
okay, but is the screen still running? You can
No,
see my
it's
screen.
not.
Please.
You need to
There's
reshare.
there's
Reshare.
something that's-
Get out and then reshare.
I'm going to have to do that. I don't know. Something has happened to my screen here. But let me get out.
Yes, I can see your screen.
No, this is mine. I was just
that's
putting it
yours.
for for the moment as he joins.
Okay.
I've come back, but somebody else is sharing the screen. I need them to stop.
Yeah, Luis, can you remove your screen?
I want to just simply share my screen.
Yes, it's there.
So able to see my screen.
Yes, you can see.
Now, I have a bit of a problem because, okay, I'll minimize this so that I can send. So it's going to read the email. I have not read it as Julia sent it and already started talking. So it's going to read the email, going to look for the email, read it, address all the issues, and work with me to make sure that I've addressed those issues. The thought process Julius talked about can be seen from the discussion here. So let me find Julius's email. There could have been about 5 Juliuses who sent an email today. So we'll have a discussion as to which one. So he's saying there's an email from Julius Torach titled Greetings. Let me read the full message. So the full message is read. I'm not touching the screen. The screen is running by itself. There are no specific issues of actions in the email. It's a brief welcome, not a request to raise any issues. Okay, so now that one has nothing. There's nothing in it. I'm going to say, okay. Okay. Read the email from James and see if there are any action issues that I need to deal with. First, advise me before you create a response such that I'm able to deal with it. But before that, it's telling me a summary of what it has done with Julius's email. It found Julius's email. It's greetings and welcome, not only welcome to Agentic AI model with no issues, no questions. I didn't want to fabricate any matters that weren't in the message. So what I did, since you had wanted me to draft a ready review for you, I wrote a brief, courteous acknowledgement and saved it in your drafts. I've not sent it. It thanks Julius for the welcome and invites him to share anything you'd like to prepare ahead of the session. You can open it in Outlook, tweak anything that you like, and when you are ready, if you're ready, you're expecting some more detailed email from Julius, one which actually requests it may have not yet arrived. So that's what it has told me. I will go to my Outlook, my box where it was going to send that email in the drafts, and look for the email it has drafted. The email is there. There we are. It has the draft thanking Julius for the email. I could have as well just simply said, send it without me reading it, and everything would go to Julius as it were. But as like Julius was saying earlier on, the human in the loop is very important in the artificial intelligence. So let's read the one of James. So the one of James, I've instructed you to read the email, prepare the response, but don't put it in the draft yet. I want to see what it's about, and then I'll be able to deal with it. Now it's getting the message from James. It will analyze my entire inbox and look for what is there. This is what they mean by the artificial intelligence becoming an agent, working for you as an agent. If you're having employees in the workforce, these are also part of your employees. Now, I have read James's email. Before anything, let me quickly check whether the prior context on this refers to the conversation last week. So reading the emails that James sent last week, so that my advice is grounded, not just simply this one, because he could be sending this as a follow-up of many other emails that have been sent. So it will look for James Onyoin Hotel Forensic Audit Manager, which is, I think, the subject of the email. So this is what James is actually asking. It's reading it for me. He's asking for his suspects at the manager. Let me read that. Oh, there are so many things. James, you are tough. So it is saying the suspects that James suspects that the manager is cheating him, and he would like to do a forensic audit and report to him in 3 weeks. So this is a forensic fraud investigation of this hotel, with the suspected culprit being the manager, and the 3 weeks deadline around 20th August gives me the specific deadline. This is a special assignment, not a routine audit. It carries risk. I would settle for the following before you accept it. Don't accept a 3 weeks deadline blindly. If you have any accountants in the room, you know what a forensic audit means. You can't just simply say, I'm going to do it this timeline. Okay? Timeline depends entirely on the scope, the hotel size, the records. Your reply should acknowledge the urgency, but tie the deadline on an agreed scope, not to commit 3 weeks upfront. The scope of the engagement, scope and engagement letter define the objective. So once you do the engagement letter, and so you define it properly before any field work starts. Now this co-pilot agency here understands my work, this kind of work that I do. So it understands what I would be expecting to reply. So confidentiality is talking about the manager is suspect, work must be discreet, records aren't altered, and the manager isn't tipped off. Decide early on how you're going to deal with this. Independence, check on the independence, check on the fees. You should agree likely retainer plus out of pocket for it, and that's so the recommendation says my recommendation, rather than replying 3 weeks, yes, I do propose a scoping meeting with James first to pin down the triggered suspicion in the areas where you expect that. A couple of things for you, and this is the reason why it is co-pilot, because you work with it. Now it's asking which hotel is this, and does your firm already have a relationship with it? Even the ethical issues that you deal with in your profession are already customized to work that way so that you're contextualized. Do you want me to propose a scoping meeting? That's my recommendation. I ought to accept and set the expectations at 3 weeks. So I want to propose a scoping meeting. So I'll just pick up that and copy, because I've allowed it to do that. I say scoping meeting and provide a response to James. send it without me reading it. I'm doing that for just purposes of testing. So as we go along, James will receive an email from me that is proposing a scoping meeting together with all the aspects that it has talked about in there. Again, the agent has worked around the clock to tick off the dots. The agent has used various sub-agents to be able to do the work and be able to pick it back to me in the real time that I need it. Now, what would ordinarily happen if I receive this email from James in a money environment? I will call the manager in charge of forensics and ask him, how much time do we have? Do we have staff? Do you have the resources? Can we deploy in this time? Can you go and do a scoping meeting? Most probably the manager will come with a notebook and copy and then decide to do what. And now they're telling me the message has been sent and James, you should be able to receive it back now by yourself. So the manager will now discuss with me the details. James, have you received it? You're muted. Sorry, you're muted.
Let me check. Let me check. Let me check.
Okay.
See. I'm not yet seeing it.
No worry, I think it will be there in short time. We know how emails work.
Yeah.
But it will be comprehensive. It has all these things. It has all the things properly structured out and what it is like. So ultimately, what happens, the time that it will take for you to synthesize, to understand the next processes, to be able, all that work has been taken over by an agent and is working in the background. And even for very complex assignments, very complex assignments. I teased out earlier on, let me just pick that conversation on, I teased out something earlier on. I was saying, I'm looking for a hotel. I'm looking for a hotel to stay in Kampala, and I want you to look up for me the hotel with my budget of 450,000 per night and review my diary and book one. Let me know before you confirm one. And now my interest is such that I'm able to send this to, I'm able to pick up this. So Copilot is going to work around the clock. Look at the hotels within Kampala, look at their pricing, return to me with an option from which I should pick, because I said don't just simply book, just look them up and get me the best one, and look at my diary and see which time I have, which is best. The co-work has taken the entire Microsoft Outlook environment, the emails, the files, the documents, the team's discussion, and contextualize that with every other information that there is. And in one go, there's a multi protocol that is working behind the clock to make sure that all this works for me, because now it understands my environment. And this is how Agentic AI is working. It's working in several areas, including creating of some of the agents by yourself to work. And I'm going to show you how to create some of the agents that we have created at this place where I work in consultation with Vision Africa AI to make sure that we are becoming leaner and more efficient. Now look, it's saying the task is complete. I've pulled up your diary for the next month and started the hotel research. Before I go any further, let me check whether there's a specific Kampala trip referenced in your email and get the full details. Now, I have not booked any trip to Kampala. I hope they can look at it up and see whether there's any trip. Or earlier on, I was discussing the same scenario, and probably I don't know, I could have booked a diary for a particular date within the month. But let us see what they come up with. Next, I'll be showing you how we've created agents that work for specific tasks or that deal with specific repetitive tasks that would require probably an intern. So my diary has been reviewed, and they are saying even the hotels have been found. The amounts have been confirmed. There is a Hotel Duomo, there is Koki Hotel, there is Canara Hotel, and they're asking me which one do I want to book. Can I pick any of these to book? So they are saying, do you want to book this? Do you want 1 or 2 or 3? Which one do you want? If I said Koki, for example, and said next, the next task will be when? Tomorrow, tonight, this weekend, when? And let me say, okay, I want it to 31st to 2nd of July and submit. Next, to look for my diary and see whether there is any booking on those days and manage my diary in such a manner that there's no conflict. Have you had instances where people say, you know, I overbooked my diary, or you know, I didn't know that this was upcoming? It's all because they have not gotten the proper PA that is guiding the diary and making sure everything is logged in and booked and reminders are coming as they should be coming. Now, this agentic AI will be able to do all those without you having to come back and specifically prompt for a particular one. If I wanted the presentation to be great choice, they have told me. They have set me up, they will block the day. Now they are saying, can we block it? So if I say save here, the next actions will now be to block the day and send a reservation request pending confirmation with the hotel. They will get in touch with the hotel, make the reservation, and if the hotel returns, they will actually get back to me and confirm. This is how the things have become as interesting as probably they get. Now, let me just show you a bit of something that's happening in Copilot. I've now become very fond of Copilot, but I'm also now fond of Cloud Code as well as Gemini. Gemini has started what they call Spark Gemini. Very interesting co-work agent as well. Goes into your inbox, reads all your emails, picks out the junk. I don't know whether also you guys receive a lot of junk emails on Gmail that you have to sieve out which one is yours and which one is not. You have to go every day and look at the emails very carefully lest you delete what is useful. It goes back there, cleans up your junk, classifies them, gives you assignments, builds up your diary, and makes sure that you are in line with everything that is expected. That's from a soft point of view. Let's get technical. I don't know whether any member on the call has a specific assignment that they do on a repetitive basis. I want them to volunteer it so that I can use it as an example as we think about what Copilot is doing. There's anybody who can mute their microphone and just say, just a minute. Somebody can mute their microphone and just specify. Any repetitive task that we can build now that you do at your place of work. You have a bank reconciliation agent. Let's do a bank reconciliation agent. I want you to build for me a bank reconciliation agent, one who is able to look at the transactions within the bank statement and compare with the cash books which I'll be providing, or in the statements that I'll be providing, and provide a fully fledged, acceptable bank reconciliation statement every week. So the agent builder will go away, and Julius told you these things are now happening in your English. We're not using code, because code is what will distinguish us as data scientists. But those of you who know me as an accountant, I've long transited away from accounting to data science. I now have a master's of science in data technology. So I'm now on the other side of the scientists. I'm no longer either scientist or, so the reconciler will be built. The agent will build the reconciler. I am going to look at it. I'm going to see what it does. The purpose is saying the instructions that I'm giving this reconciler is to help users prepare weekly bank statements, comparing bank statement transactions with the cash book records they provide produce an audit reconciliation that explains differences, classifies reconciling items, and highlights unresolved exceptions. The guidelines, the guardrails that we said you put in place to make sure that the agent does not hallucinate, delivers to you what is supposed to be delivered to you. The problem with the AI is if it hallucinates, then you are in deep trouble, because then you are going to begin to present incoherent things, or things that are coming from nowhere. That's the reason why you must make sure that the guardrails are there, the definitions are there, what is supposed to be there. So these are the general guidelines. It should be executive accounting focused in a practical tone, prioritize accuracy and completeness, trail clarity, and plain language explanations. Ask for missing essentials before finalizing the bank statement period, the cash book period, the opening balance, the closing balance, the account name, the currency, every one of these things. And then the skills it's going to use to prepare data reconciliation. You need to read the bank statement. That's a skill you need. You need to standardize dates, their descriptions and references, debit signs and credit signs. You need to be able to detect incomplete rows and duplicate lines. You need to be able to ask the user to confirm ambiguous columns and any unusual transactions. Two, you must be able to match the transactions. This is something that a newcomer within the firm or within the organization will be taught how to do a reconciliation. I remember back then when I just arrived in the workplace in 1995, I was taught to do a bank reconciliation. I had instructions for a whole month on what to do and how to do the reconciliation and how to present it, manually going through all the documents. Now that's no longer required, because the bank is going to send you the bank statement on PDF. You'll open it, put the passwords and open it. You have your cash book with you within the environment of the Microsoft Outlook. So all you need to do is to just use this agent, get the bank instruction, and be able to get the bank statement and be able to produce a bank reconciliation. What used to be every 7th day of the week, of the month following the month of month end, can now be done there and then at the close of midnight. The following day on morning, 1st of August, you have the bank reconciliation for the month of July, because everything else is in, and you're able to get it perfectly right. This used to be something that executive managers would struggle with. They can now get it within no time. Because so the output, what they will have as an output format, the executive summary, the documents reviewed, the reconciliation statement, the match transaction summary, outstanding deposits and presented checks, payments. So we look at all this, and then we come back here and do the configuration to be able to configure to see where it should read from. Now in the configuration, we'll say configure and be able to look at the other areas within here that are supposed to be set up. One, the knowledge base. What do you need? You need to be able to look at the files that are added in the cloud. You need to look at the Teams reconciliation. You need to look at the Outlook here. You need to look at globally any other links of meetings or emails that are within the framework of the ecosystem that you're working with, and then be able to specify if you need it from a particular URL, you say this particular URL, or if you need to drop files here, you drop them here. There are files that you need to drop, you drop them there. And on a repetitive basis, they will be able to perform it. In the capabilities to be able to create a Word document, an Excel document, a PowerPoint presentation. There are even suggested prompts that will come with the moment you finish the building up of the agent. Here we are saying these are the ones, but we can add others, suggest others, and you can suggest and add a prompt. If you add a suggested prompt, it will add here, and then after we've done that, then we'll be able to say, create the agent. So the agent is now being created. Fully created now. I can start chatting with that agent. The agent is fully created. It's called Bank Reconciler. It will say reconcile this week. That's the first prompt that is there. So if I add any files from anywhere, I wish I had some files I could add, or some imagined files that I could add. If I added in a file from my files or images from my files, if I could pick any from anywhere here, or let me see if I have any. I used to have any in my workspace called artificial intelligence. Yes, artificial intelligence. Oh, I have nothing here. If I had any documents that I might want to add, I'd be able to add a full document and then reconcile it with whatever I've received. I'll be able to add the document there. And then let me just perform a blind reconciliation with it. So the document itself is an abstract. It has nothing to reconcile with, but let me just simply say reconcile this week and see what the tool will tell me. The tool will look at the document, study it, look at what is in the spreadsheet, characterize it, go into coding and executing by itself. I have nothing to add in there. And then it will come back and tell me, using the coded language, to come back in plain language and tell me what this is all about. And if I put in an execution that is unapplicable, to tell me, please, you can't add anything on this. But now it's still working to be able to extract and execute the working there. So that's working within Copilot. Those of you who have licenses for Microsoft 365, you can actually, it's actually doing the work. Maybe let me let it finish first, then I do one more demonstration. Wow, there we are. I've reviewed the workbook and prepared a reconciliation pack as evidence allows. The file does not contain this week's statement and cash book transactions, so I cannot do the final bank reconciliation without forcing unsupported assumptions. So that it has given a brief of what it is. No lies at all, because this is what I've given it. So it's saying, please look at this properly. The document itself I've reviewed is that document, not sufficient. It appears to be an equity reserves audit work paper, not a bank statement or a cash book. And the final reconciliation items are missing. You know, I prescribed how it should look like, how the reconciliation should look like from the beginning to the end, and it will return a result for each one of them. Now, every other time I need a reconciliation, like I would have actually asked the assistant to do that. The bank statement comes and it's sent to the agent, and the agent does the reconciliation, puts it on my table within no time, within the very time that it's received. Wow. I thought somebody would be clapping their hands for this kind of things that are happening. Let me just show you something very interesting that is happening. You know, when we started out in when we entered the workspace in the early 90s, there used to be what they call the computer room. And the applications that were there those days were Lotus 123. Lotus 123 was replaced by Excel largely. But now the Excel that comes is the Excel that you see as it looks like here. It has capabilities for, in my view, it has capabilities for Copilot to work with it. It has cloud to work with it. It has GPT to work with. I'm going to use Copilot as a plain tool for Excel. And I'm going to say, I am currently in a presentation training people on the use of Agentic AI, and I need you to help me generate hypothetical transactions for general ledger demonstration in this particular illustration. So it's going to generate for me transactions that you should be able to see on the screen, coming naturally on the screen, and we can demonstrate with it what the agent can do in terms of being able to execute. So it requires some actions from me. It is saying how many transactions will they be? Do you want small sets? Do you want big sets? So I'm just going to say, let me just say, let me know the choices. Did you want 1, 2, 1? Let me just say 1, 2, 1, so that we go with everything that's proposed. So it will filter the noise. Let us be a little bit patient with this and see what happens. Besides that, now the agent now can take your branded materials, your branding, office branding, and the color schemes as you want them, and permanently display them on your documents the way you want them displayed. So you don't have to worry about whether you are going to generate a letterhead or whether you're going to generate transactions to do. Now you can see it has generated the transactions that I wanted to. I hope you can see this. Can we see this?
Yes, we can see.
We can see that. Now, from here, I'm going to say these transactions are general ledger transactions, and I want to generate a trial balance together with the complete set of financial statements that comply with international financial reporting standards from the first to the last, including the explanatory notes. Do this sheet by sheet. To go and plug away, wants me to save. So let me save the book as a demo, Vision, AI. So to go work away, create the necessary sheets out of this data that has been created, and be able to generate from them the financial statements right from the beginning to the end without me having to come back and touch a button, except where decisions need to be made. And I follow this through because the human loop is very important to make sure that the intelligence does not run astray. And it'll keep on coming back to me to ask for clarifying questions if there are any. But say, would you like me to add a summary of the formulas, charts, and create a chart for this? Let me know what would be most useful. So I say 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll say all of them. So proceed with all. I don't know how much time we have left. Meanwhile, as we're doing this, remember that
it is already 5 minutes past time, but given that you are in the middle of demonstration, I will ask the room if you can borrow at least 10 minutes, so we can close at 5:15.
Normally, somebody should rule that.
You can say yes on the chat so that we know whether you're in support. I think somebody is saying yes.
Somebody is saying yes.
I'll be like Rotary. The sergeant at arms has already authorized you. So move ahead, Mr. Kibbedi.
So now this information has added a chart here and a summary on what needs to happen, this special information. But I remember I requested that I need the information. Okay, this information that has been beautified here, but they are going to go back and give me the information that was required in terms of the financial information. If I'm unhappy, then I will say I'm not happy. But now you see, the pivot table has now come with the analysis of the regions, with the analysis of the bank transfers, and the mobile money transactions that have so far happened from the general ledger. That pivot analysis has already been done. It's on step 7. It's working through that, and it's going to be displaying to us one by one as that happens. So as this happens, I can leave this screen and go and be looking at other things that I'm supposed to do. I come back, this work is already done, and all I need to do is to lift it and use it. Oh, it is saying it is done. I think we picked only a few things. We didn't pick the entire sheet. Okay, I think I gave so many instructions. Oh, I didn't hear what I was saying. Create a trial balance ready for extraction of financial statements from it. So it will crunch the data, go get the data that I need, and be able to put it in a trial balance format, get it ready for me to be able to examine it. Again, this is happening in the space of normal agentic intelligence. Organizations that are organized, that have a lot of resources, have put a lot of energy into automating the workflows by themselves, such that at the end of the day, they have an in-house protocol that is able to multifunction around each of the functions so that they are able to bring a result. But like Julius said, we are small entities. We cannot afford probably to engage in all this. All we need to do is take advantage of the information that we have and the tools that have been researched, make sure they are enterprise protected. You know, when you have an enterprise protection, you see where I'm pointing the gear there, there's the enterprise data protection. So this data cannot be used for training other agents. So they're telling me there is information that I need to clarify on, and I come back and clarify each of these. They have checked whether the balance is equal to the debits. That's the first check we do for trial balances, to make sure that the client is giving you a trial balance that balances. Otherwise, you will deal with the data that cannot be audited. We are ready. That is finding the last row, and we are ready. The trial balance is happily here with all the debits and credits picked from the data that was there. And from this, because I gave it multiple instructions, it only did a few of them. I keep on monitoring to see whether it has done everything that I need. I could say actually proceed. Sorry. I could say proceed and create the rest of the statements.
But it's still processing. Maybe you wait, it's still processing.
I'm being impatient.
Yes.
It's actually still processing.
It's still processing.
Yeah, they're adding the income statement. Verifying the complete summary. I don't have to observe it in this. Of course, if it requires me to do a particular step, I will have to wait. It checks the imbalances, goes back and reconciles them. And if there are any unethical issues that I'm asking, it's a beauty I've found about this. I've posed and asked unethical questions, and it has simply said, no, I will not do that. Amazing. Because again, I will structure this to comply with the standards that govern accounting. Those standards will require you to remain ethical. So if you instruct anything unethical, it will not be allowed. So if it finds that there's a discrepancy within the information that you have given it, to actually ask you how to deal with the discrepancy. So you deal with it the normal way you deal with discrepancies when you're doing executing client work. Again, this happens in the field of science. It is happening in the field of every field, including economics. The other day, I was traveling from Ginger, and I asked a question. I want to get to Kampala in 2 hours. Where do I pass? And it insisted that you go straight through Mabila. But because my other passengers are so used to moving through Kayunga, they said, no, Mabila will always be crowded. Let's go through Kayunga. When we reached Kayunga, when we went through Kayunga, we found there was an accident. There was a heavy jam. Again, artificial intelligence had gone ahead of us to be able to tell us what is happening. I don't know why these things are. Have they been created here? Yes, they've been created here. So you see the summary financial statement, the balance sheet components, the income statement components, they have all been created here. Again, you could instruct to create page by page, and even do the disclosure, even add on to the discussion, the accounting policies the entity uses so that they're incorporated within the material accounting principles that are supposed to accompany the financial statements. Friends, it's like that, and it works the same way. I have looked at, I've told you I'm a fanatic of all of them, Copilot, Gemini, Spark. Gemini has created a tool called Spark. Here it's called Spark. If you look at Spark, Spark will do the same work that Copilot will do, and will go and complete things within the shortest of time, come back with proposals on what needs to be done for each of them. Same story has happened to Cloud. They will go back, they will go do things and come back and tell you what they have done. Amazing things that are happening in the space of artificial intelligence. I don't know whether I should continue. Okay. Maybe I should stop here.
Yeah, I think we have run out of time. Maybe we shall have to call you back again, and we just concentrate on the agents and themselves. But otherwise, I think people have got an idea. And of course, the purpose of this is really to show you what is possible and to let you know that if you would like to become proficient in artificial intelligence, then you need to talk to Vision Africa Artificial Intelligence. And of course, with the experts like Frederick Kibbedi, Julius Torach, and others, we will be able to work with you. We can help you also set up your system from scratch. Of course, Julius Torach told you we can do an assessment, determine with you what's required to be done, and then handhold you all along the way to make sure that you're able to. The other thing, I don't know whether Lucy, you can show it. We have a webinar next month. Lucy, if you can show the webinar next month, it's a boot camp. It will be for a whole week, three hours a week. That webinar will be for those who are already our learners. If you are registered for any of our courses, you will be entitled to attend the boot camp. The boot camp will handle generative artificial intelligence. It will handle prompt engineering. It will handle agentic AI again in a much practical way. So the opportunity is there next month in August. The exact date will be announced to you, and then this will be available for you to do. So thank you so much. I think you have been such a wonderful audience. Unfortunately, you can't go into question and answer. That's the bootcamp I'm talking about. It is going to take place next month. For those who are members, who are already learners within our system, you're entitled to attend it. And you can still pay for one course, then you become eligible to attend the bootcamp. It will be free for you, for those who are already learners within our system. So thank you so much. I would like us to close at this point. I would have allowed questions, but we have run out of time. I think for this particular session, we shall have to bring it back again some months in front, but with a greater emphasis on a practical demonstration of agentic AI. Thank you so much, and I wish you a great week ahead. Let's meet next week when we have the next session, when we shall be showcasing some of the programs that we actually run with partners and experts. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.